better. Okay. So this is the hub. And back around to me. So, and then I was able to put the flooring in that I wanted. Nice carpet all the way around. Right now, I plan on cleaning up a little and opening my other coffee table so that way I have more of a space to cook. But last night, I tell you, after everything was all said and done, that was all she wrote. I had no more energy left for anything. None. So I said, okay, well, let me go ahead and lay down, go to sleep. I had turned all the heaters on and everything. And yeah, needless to say, for a, what, 40-degree night, 40, 50-degree night, 3 heaters, and one being a kerosene heater was definitely overkill. Definitely overkill. But we live and we learn. I gotta put these, let me put these in the sink. Yes, I have a sink. So I have the sink over here. When I turn it on, it is a little noisy, but look. I have water. Same thing with the shower. I got plenty of shower water pressure for the shower. Um, rocks. Rocks. I'll put you in the sink too. Mm. One thing that I enjoy about certain purchases that I make is the ease of use with them. Like, take this pot for instance. Easy to clean, does everything. It fries, it broils, it steams, because it comes with a steamer. And it has everything that it does written here. Fortunately, it's backwards for you guys because I'm using a front-facing camera. But it does the job, and it's electric. I mean, most people are like, but you're camping. You don't really want to use electric. I'm camping and I'm going to use electric via either a power station or the electricity they have on site. If I'm at a non-electric site, then I'll use my power station. If I'm at an electric site, I'll use their electric, but I would still use my power station because like the hot water system that I have, it you have to have a DC outlet in order to power the pump. If you're at a campsite that has um, if you're at a campsite that has what do you call it? Um, water. I can't believe it took me that long to say that. If you're at a campsite that has water, um, you can actually the hook a hose up. Hook. It has a little attachment piece that you can connect um, one of their hoses to the spigot, so that way you'll be able to use the water pressure from that instead of having to use the pump, which is a lot quieter. But it is what it is. Um, Especially to be able to have something outside of the home that can produce hot water. You do need a propane tank with it, and I'm not talking about one of the small propane tanks. I mean, technically, you could use one if you had something that could change the connector, because the connector that they send you is for the big propane tank. Um, so that's what I have. Um, but yeah, let me go ahead and get myself a Clorox wipe. I need to clean this table off. I don't know if y'all could see. This is the inside of the tent. Track me. Well, I guess that's as far as it's gonna go. But there we go. Yeah. Have the bedroom all the way back here. Bed on this side. Space over here. You could have a chair there if you want, or a little dresser to put your clothes. And I have my living room area, which is here. Got the sofa off to the left, TV, projector screen to the right, my heater down here. As you can see the bed now. You can't see the sofa. And then, yeah, you guys saw the refrigerator sitting over there a minute ago. I know you're wondering, like, you're sitting out in a tent, just a t-shirt on and a thin pair of pants. Like, yeah. Like, last night, I thought it was going to be, like, super, super warm. But, I mean, cold. So I turned on all three heats. Sorry. One of the flying ants had gotten in. Yeah, it's time for bugs. While I was changing the door, let me make sure everything is connected like I want. propane, for the kerosene. Kerosene is very aromatic. Very, very. There we go. Now off it back down. All right. Table. Because one of the things that I got was a what do you call it? Use your words, Juanita. A cooktop. Propane cooktop. And I haven't been able to use it. Well, my best friend's got me a cooktop. And, well, no, they got me this table so that I can use a cooktop. Propane powered cooktop, which I think is really cool. I gotta switch up the end pieces here. Because I'm gonna put, there we go. I'm gonna put my other table on this side. I need you off too. I have to expand the legs. The legs, the legs. I'm working on doing things in a minimal nature. I have not quite grasped that ability yet, but hopefully soon. I'm pretty sure Hubby would love it if I did. I would love it if I did too. It's just funny how far things have come from the first time I went camping to now, because the first time I went camping, we went to Misty Mountain Camp Resort. Hubby suggested, like, hey, why don't we, now granted he didn't say it like that, but he suggested that we go camping because I wanted to go to Florida at that time, but Florida was not conducive to our budget. at that given. So since neither one of us really dealt with any type of camping, I was like, okay, sure. Now, knowing me, I'd like to do my research and find out what I need, how much I need to bring, um, what'll make the trip comfortable without feeling mm, like you're literally in a tent sleeping on the ground. There were a few stipulations that I had to adhere to. Like, I wasn't sleeping on the ground, and the tent that we stayed in had to be tall enough for us to walk around in. I can't just say me because I'm definitely not the tallest one. Um, and I did happen to find one, luckily. Um, I gotta turn this on its side. But the legs extend. Okay. Um, I was like, let's use this tent. And you guys actually saw you guys are actually able to see um, the tent that we used in one of the other videos that I have posted. There. Should be height right. Yep. Height right. It was the one that looked like a house. That's the tent that I ended up using. And that one was pretty cool for the first time. Um, we went during August. It was decent weather. You're in the mountains, so it's not terribly stifling. It was quite relaxing. I had plans to try to cook things I've never cooked before via campfire. Because, I'm wrong. I've never cooked anything via campfire, so that wasn't a hard task to complete. In regards to making the attempt, including baking bread in a cast iron over fire. That was actually pretty darn cool because I did a pretty damn good job, if I do say so myself. I have pictures to contest it. So there will be no dispute. All right. So how does that look? You got the L-shaped table. There you go. All right. So I have the cooktop that'll end up going here. Like, I'm not cooking anything right now because I'm not hungry yet. But these compact items, like this coffee table, is one of the best purchases. Now, please don't get me wrong. Any purchase that I've made thus far since I've started camping is one of the best purchases that I've ever done. I really like the aspect of glamping. It gives you that homey feel, gives you comfort, but it also allows you to enjoy nature too, i.e., what you see right in front. Okay. That's my view right now. And that's the same view that I have when I'm in my bedroom too, or sitting in the living room. It's nice. It really is. So you won't get any complaints out of me for this particular tent so far. I did complete my task of going cold camping, making, using the main part of the tent because I didn't have this one yet. And it actually, it turned out nice. I had overkill in the heating department because I had 2 kerosene heaters, 2 kerosene heaters, 2, what do you call it? Oh, MG. 2 electric heaters. 2 kerosene heaters, 2 electric heaters. And that did the damn job. Because initially when we only used the electric heaters that first night, it was so cold that even poor Coco was set at the end of the bed on the floor looking at us, whining. And then when I invited her into bed, she laid down in bed, and then that's all she wrote. She, like, snoring, passed out. And I'm like, really? You little spoiled little hussy. Now, granted, we don't let her sleep in our bed when we're at home. No, she has her own bed that she sleeps in. She just likes to be close to us. And I guess one of the other things that I hadn't taken into account is that that first night it was a windy night, so all of the rain fly that was on wasn't as secured as it could have been. So the wind was flapping it, and she's a skittish dog. So she didn't know what to do, was scared of the noise, and wanted to be close to somebody of whom um, could, give her comfort. As someone else deems us her support humans. But that's okay. Hubby told me that she was being finicky as far as eating, and I've noticed that she tends to do that when I leave to go on my camping trips, because she stays around me a lot. She used to just sit in the office with Trey when he was working from home, and then when I got home from work, that's when she'd come down and just be all up in my face. Um, Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to figure out what to do with this mop on my head. Um, but now back to the camping story. So that first trip, I had it all planned out because it was for our anniversary. I was like, all right, I'm gonna cook this, I'm gonna cook that. I pre-made some meals, so all I needed to do was heat it up. And I have some pictures between Instagram and um, sorry, I was hearing something. I do have some pictures between Instagram and TikTok, and even this platform, YouTube, that shows some of my creations, my earlier creations. You are going to have to excuse my videos. I am new. I am trying to get this whole thing figured out in regards to learning what to say, how to talk on camera, and all that other good stuff. But I mean, talking on camera is not a big deal because I'm talking to the camera because I'm talking to you guys. So that's not a problem, none whatsoever. Um, I tend to ramble on a lot, and that would have a lot to do with the fact that it's not like I can hear you guys talking to me. When you message me, I can answer questions and things like that. But back to camping. I digress. the the campsite had a lot of amenities. It wasn't a state park, so the price was a bit higher, like $400 or $500 for us to stay there for a week. Um, like I said, the tent was in the shape of a house. It had a main vestibule area, which I turned into a kitchen. The center portion, I had the bedroom on one side and the living room on the other side, and then a small little portion in the back, which was actually a shower room. So I made that into a bathroom shower, which, yes, I did buy a toilet, one that flushes. You pump the handle, it has water that swirls, you open it, and everything falls into a black tank, which is what you empty. And then a shower, which you have the had a rod that you stick in a bucket that keeps it, that heats up the water, so the battery powered shower head will pull the warm water, and that's what you use to take a shower with. um, that was the simple version of what it is that I'm doing now. The now version of my camping includes what I learned from the first time and the times thereafter. Foam flooring, it's a necessity because the tent pads that they have on the sites are usually gravel. You can't guarantee that it's going to be the tiny rock gravel. It's usually like larger rocks, which are not fun underfoot. Mm-mm. Getting like a half inch to quarter inch foam to go underneath blankets or rugs or something was the way to go for us, because one, it provided cushion underfoot. Two, it allowed us to keep, like, especially during the colder seasons or even during the warmer seasons, that transfer of temperature. Like, it kept it nice and cool in the summertime, and it kept it nice and warm in the wintertime. Because you're not pulling, it's not allowing the temperature from the ground to enter into the tent. And then the flooring itself, the rugs that I have down now, these are the first time that I've used these rugs, and I actually really like it. I really, really do. They're more compact, they're foldable, easy to carry and move around, very low piles, very low maintenance, skid proof back. Um, and even though they're all different patterns, I wish they were all the same pattern. It still gives a nice aesthetic to it. It differentiates between the different rooms, because even in the main tent, I'm able to close off that partition between the bedroom and the living room, and it's like I'm in a living room, or when I go to bed, I'm in the bedroom. Um, Now, going on from that particular camping trip, um, I said, because of the type of tent, it took us about an hour to set up. Yeah, I'd say about an hour to set up. So I did, and them Billy Bobs were heavy, heavy. Not as heavy as the tent now, but it was heavy. So I said, let me see if I can find another tent that's more on the instant side of things. So that way, all we have to do is pop it up, lay it out, and that's where the Ozark Dark Rest tent came in. Because another issue that I had with the house tent was that when it was daylight, you knew it was daylight. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Like there were, yeah. When it was daylight, you knew it was daylight. And for someone who is on vacation and wants to be able to sleep in, it wasn't very comfortable. Or if you wanted to stay in and watch a little TV because you've been outside and you're ready to just veg out for a little bit and, just relax, then you couldn't watch TV inside the house tent because it was so bright. It was so light. Now with the Ozark Dark Rest tent, which I want to say a good bulk of my videos, um, yeah, a good bulk of my videos right now, that's what it's showing. That was one of my favorite tents. All of my tents are my favorite tents. But in terms of what I was using it for, that tent actually ticked a lot of boxes, because it allowed for late sleeping. It had enough ventilation, um, for, if it was hot or something like that, open up the windows where I was able to get a good breeze. Its layout, like its floor plan was nice enough where I was able to set up other things around it. Now, of course, because this is the type of tent that didn't have a bathroom attached, and I love the fact that the house tent did have a bathroom, I went through and I bought a two-room bathroom, so that way it'll still have the separate shower, separate toilet area, which you'll see in one of the other videos. And then I was like, I still want a kitchen. I don't want to have to cook in the main space that I'm sleeping in. So then that's when I got the 10 by 10 canopy tent. And you see that being utilized as like the chill hangout space with the curtains and everything like that. Loved that setup. I thought it was so beautiful. Had different ways that I wanted to do it. But that was the one that stuck out the most for me. Then um, my next step was making that one nice and cozy for one people, two people, three people, four people, up to six people, to see if that was a possibility. And it was. I was able to successfully do it. With these tents in general, doesn't matter if it's a small tent, big tent, they tell you like, oh, it can fit two people, it can fit six people, it can fit 8, 10, 20 people. But when they're giving you those numbers, they're basing it off people lying on the ground in a sleeping bag side by side by side. It has nothing to do with like actual living. the temperature is dropping a bit, guys. So I'm going to but I'm gonna put on a jacket. It's not cold enough for me to turn on more heat. I'm gonna put on a jacket. So give me 1 second. And I need to do this. You're too much powder for that. Okay. There we go. Oh, too bright. Okay. So I took and figured out, where was I with my story? Different layouts. Yes. So I said, okay, now that I've tried the Ozark Dark Rest, here comes a family trip coming up. Like, I have a lot of people coming. I want to be able to make it so that everybody would be comfortable. So Ozark, I think it was an Ozark. I got to go back and check. But needless to say, it was like a 20 person tent. No, we did not have 20 people in there. We did have 1, 2, 3, for 5. We had 5 people in there, and that's only utilizing 3 of the rooms because my niece, 5 at the time, needed to, I wanted to make sure that the bathroom was accessible for her. So that way we wouldn't have to traverse too far in the middle of the night should she have to go pee, and that she would be able to utilize it herself. She'd be able to get up and go, which worked out very well because the tent had 4 separate bedrooms. Each of them could fit a queen size mattress, um, up to a queen size mattress, and a main entryway, and then the central hub. So it's kind of like an octopus minus like 3 legs and it cut off at the knees for a lack of a better way of putting it. And it was the height was wonderful. All the bedrooms had outdoors, um, if you were to utilize them, but we didn't. And what else? I didn't use foam tiles in these. The flooring of the tent was, for like a 300 and some odd dollar tent. It was decent. Um, but any cold that was coming up from the ground, I did want that to come into the tent because of the time, um, when we went, which was in June. Um, then what happened? What did we do? I don't have too many videos of utilizing that tent because I was mainly enjoying life. I was mainly spending time with family and friends and um, just living. I have a lot of pictures. I do. I have a lot of pictures, but not video in regards to it or that of really the tent in and of itself. I used, like, because of the number of people who went, I brought my dark rest tent. I brought the 20-person tent. Um, and that was enough for everybody to have a place to sleep between those two. And then I brought my canopy tent, the 10 by 10, and I utilized it as a kitchen. It has like a tent insert that I put in there, so um, I was able to keep it enclosed. I did bring the 2-room bathroom to serve as an extra place to shower because it was hot during the day. I didn't mind taking a cold shower. Other people didn't mind. And then there was still, of course, it was a state park, so they had their own bathroom facilities. But be it that it's one of the parks that is near a lake, those facilities are used readily. So I just wanted to have something that was available for everybody. Um, then after that, I got the King Camp Con Palace. That tent was beautiful. It is beautiful. Um, Pros and cons for that one. Well, backspace a little bit. Pros and cons for the 20-person tent. It does use a lot of fiberglass rods. It is recommended that 2 people set it up, because I think I may have a short video of me setting it up um, by myself. And I did it. It was still, it was a lot. Um, and I always fear breaking a fiberglass rod because of how you gotta bend it to fit where it's supposed to go. Um, but that took maybe 30 minutes to set up. The dark rest took only 10 minutes, if that, because it's just like pull, snap, bend out the knuckles, like. And the house tent took about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, because those are heavy rods, and those rods require you to fit them in the right fitting. Um, and then with the King Camp Con Palace, that one was beautiful tent. The very high ceilings, the um, the spaciousness, the floor the floor is sturdy, just like in here, the floor is sturdy, and it's a canvas tent. Any canvas tent is going to be pretty darn heavy, and you got what else? The A hole for a chimney. Hmm. The windows, um, like the tent itself, is rainproof. It how can I say it? Canvas is a good material to use when you're going to be camping in the rain. However, it is not water resistant. I think I'm saying that right. Because you got the waterproof nature of it where the water will beat off and go down, but it still has the opportunity to absorb. And that's what it did in that particular tent. It absorbed into the fabric, but it didn't leak into the tent. The absorption would actually help with the weatherproofing of the tent. So when the sun came out, the fibers that were like this initially got wet, they expanded, and then that expansion, when it dries, stays. So it makes it even more weatherproof. Um, I did learn that with canvas tent, it can hold a lot of humidity. hmm It sure can. The first night using that particular tent, I ended up in having to go get a dehumidifier, which I put in. There's a video in regards to that, and it got rid of bucket loads of water, bucket loads, and thank God for the dehumidifier. Like even with this, it's saying it's 65% humidity in here, 61 degrees with 65% humidity. That is not bad. That is not bad at all. However, when I was there, the humidity said 95%. And you run your finger over a surface, you have condensation on your fingers. That's how hot it was. So I had to make it through that first night and go to the store and get a dehumidifier. Um, the After that, it was smooth sailing. Um, Always make sure your tents are dry before you put them away. Um, the area that I live in doesn't really afford me the opportunity to go and spread the tent out, especially during inclement weather. My hours didn't afford me the ability to do that, so I thought the tent was as dry as it could be, um, but I kept it in our living room foyer so that way, um, just the regular temperature of the house would be able to dry it out. Well, I went to go set it up, and there were like teeny tiny spots, in a few places. So I treated those and then made sure that when we put the tent away this time, that it was nice and dry. That tent does not have a rain fly, so uh, I kind of feel like using the tent during inclement weather is not something that I would do readily often, um, because I don't want to have to deal with the material becoming um, mildewed. Now we have this tent, and oh, backtrack. I did do a slight, almost full-on glamping with the Con Palace. Um, Reason why I haven't done a full-on glamping with that one yet is that even though It's lighter. It's lighter than these because I can at least pick up the Con Palace by myself. Um, but staking it out is not a problem. Staking that tent out if the ground gives. If the ground does not give, holy moly, holy moly, it is not a fun time trying to stake out that tent if it doesn't give. So I've taken it out about twice so far, and it may be a third time this year for the family camping trip. I got to take stock of who wants to camp in what tent. I already know that Trey and I are going to be in this one, so these are already taken. Um, and then you have this tent. So the first time we went camping in it, I did a full on glam, decorations and all, lighting, um, decor, curtains, like the whole shebang. Um, I was saddened because this part of the tent hadn't came at that time, but I said I'm gonna make the best of it, and I made the best of it, and chef's kiss. It was great because um, well, first and foremost, when I initially set it up, while we were using it, I set it up backwards. And I know you're like, how can you set it up backwards? I don't understand. It's the same front and back. Actually, no. Um, the bedroom area has a bucket flooring that is very thick and it is not removable. The front room area has a thinner layer flooring that is removable. Um, and that's supposed to have been the living room. And the first time we used it, I did it backwards. I put the bedroom in the living room and the living room in the bedroom, um, which actually it does make a difference as far as when you're doing cold camping, making sure that the temperature maintains itself. Um, However, like I said, we made it through. I made it work. I had 4 rugs that I ended up bringing on during that trip, and it was funny because the corners, the way I had them, is like 2 in 1 room, 2 in the other. Oh, I did leave the bathroom window open. Hold on, let me close that. That's why it's chilly. Better. Um, so the first time the way I ended up having it set up was that right outside the main door, I had like a little foyer area, the awning that's usually on the bathroom. It extends out about 5 feet, which leaves like kind of some living space for you to have like a little table or something if you want to, if it was just standing alone. Um, so I used that particular space to create like a outdoor kitchen like area because I didn't want it to get too warm by staying in the tent, like the foodstuffs and everything. Um, and it worked out pretty well. That's when I had the second kerosene heater, and I had that sitting on the table so that way it would keep that area remotely warm, especially be it that it had the entryway into the bathroom. Um, the This one, the way I have it, think of like the shape of an L. The the lower jutted out portion is the bathroom. Otherwise, the main tent and the hub is all the leg of the leg of the L. We'll say it that way. Um, I love this setup. Initially, I was going to put the clear door over here, so it's like clear door one end, clear door on the other end. But be it that the main road is right there. I was like, nah, you're not going to get me having somebody constantly driving by, looking at me, and no. I'd rather have it sitting like this, picturesque. This works. This works for me. Yes. Yes. But nothing else really going on. I'm watching the temperature. Um, Over there by the bathroom is 60 degrees. Right here where I am is about 62 degrees. In the bedroom is about 64 degrees. And I know it seems like those are like really cold temperatures, but and they're actually mild and mild temperatures. It's like slightly jacket weather or that type of chill where it's like, okay, let me go ahead and throw a little blanket over my lap and you're comfortable. You're not too hot, you're not too cold. You're like just right. Unlike last night, 92 degrees. I do need to refill my kerosene because the temp is going to drop later on tonight. So I want to make sure that we're nice and warm. Um, Even though I still have my electric heaters. Mm-hmm. Have some nice tea. But nothing else is going on right now. I'm probably going to. Am I going to make myself something to eat later? I don't know. All depends on how I feel. It said that it's going to be like wind gusts, a little over 40 miles per hour wind gusts, but the wind's going to be between 20 to 30 today. So I have like pretty much heavy things in corners, in tents. I mean, of course you got the being staked down, but can never be too cautious. The poles themselves are very freaking sturdy, very sturdy. Um, like you can't squeeze them. Like they are hard. I'm not really squeezing it. I'm nowhere near it. Excuse me. Nothing else is really going on right now. I'm just relaxing. I just wanted to hop on here for a little bit to talk to you guys about what I've been doing and everything. And then when I break out my IGT stove, I'll put that as the main feature for that episode. But tune in later. Bye.